Senator Blackburn, it's always an honor to have you on.
It is so good to be with you. Thank you so much. And my goodness, get out of New York without any problems. My friends that live there say they cannot believe it. And they talk regularly about how everyone can't get over the poor job that de Blasio has done through the pandemic.
Well, it's like Escape from New York, Senator Blackburn. You know, you come here, it's like a ghost town. He's shutting the entire city down. It's going into bankruptcy. You still can't go into a restaurant. Most businesses are closed. When I got to Penn Station, I took Amtrak on Sunday night. Normally, it takes about 30 minutes to get a cab in the cab line. But on Sunday night, it took me 30 minutes because there's no cabs on the street. There's no cars. It's empty. There's no one there. It's like a ghost town. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I don't know what de Blasio intends to do, who's going to pay these bills or how he expects people to live, but the city gripped in fear. I've never seen anything quite like this ever, Senator. Let's get to the Supreme Court and the potential choice of the president on Friday or Saturday, he says, is going to be a female. Senator Blackburn, can we get a Supreme Court nominee confirmed before November 3rd?
Absolutely, we can get this nominee confirmed. Bear in mind, the process is generally about a 60-day process. Kavanaugh took 89 days. We also know that it is sometimes as short as John Paul Stevens, which was 19 days. But, John, the one thing that we need to keep in mind is the President and the Senate will do their constitutional duty, as they have in election years 29 previous times. You would have to go back to 1888 to find a time when the President and the Senate of the same party left a vacancy on the Supreme Court. So, no, we will fill this. We will do our due diligence. We're going to be thorough and thoughtful. We're going to put forward a nominee. We're going to call the vote, and we're going to confirm the nominee.
Tell me about who you think the president is going to choose. Obviously, he said it was a woman, the Catholic, who's my choice. I'm Catholic also. Amy Coney Barrett seems to be the front runner, but he says there's a top 5 choice. Do you have any thoughts at all on that, Senator Blackburn?
Amy Coney Barrett would be a stellar choice. What a wonderful, remarkable life story. Another is Barbara Lagoa from Florida, who was the first Cuban-American woman on the Florida Supreme Court. And when she went through her confirmation for the circuit court, she received 80 votes on the Senate floor. So it would be very difficult for those senators to then turn around and vote against her for a Supreme Court nomination. And I think they're probably two of the top. You've got Joan Larson out of Michigan, who is also one who is up for consideration and has quite a stellar record.
Would you be comfortable with either choice or the
am, but,
three that you mentioned?
I think that one thing we have to realize is regardless of who of those three were to move forward, what we know is that the Democrats are going to do what they always do to conservative women. And as you know, John, I just wrote a book about this. And they are going to absolutely skewer that conservative female that gets put forward for the Supreme Court, because the left does not think that conservative women have a voice that deserves to be heard. And if you're pro-life, pro-family, pro-religion, pro-business, pro-military, they want to quiet you and not let that voice be heard, not have that discussion. They would like for women to be of the left and vote in a monolithic bloc.
Well, Senator, you certainly have been on the forefront of this for a long time, both being in the House and Congress. We followed your career. You've been on my show many times, and I want to thank you for that. Senator Marsha Blackburn with us just has a book out called The Mind of a Conservative Woman, Seeking the Best for Family and Country. You can get it on Amazon or your favorite bookstore. She says she wants to reject our society's liberal bias against conservative women and learn how traditional principles will secure a better future. So, Senator, very quickly, the inspiration for the book.
The inspiration for the book came from working with women across this country who are in the public eye. And maybe they're in elective office, or they are working in a business, or they speak up in their community. And they would always say, Marsha, there seems to be a bias from the media and from the public square against conservative women. And how do we fight back? How do we represent ourselves? And now, as we are in the Supreme Court battle, you see it crystallizing for so many people, because before the nominee's name is said, before she is presented, then already they are pushing back on having a female who is a jurist, who comes from the right, and having that voice heard on the Supreme Court. And they continue to push back on this. So the inspiration really is the women that I've served with. And Speaker Gingrich wrote the foreword for the book, and I dedicated it to the conservative women that I've served with at the local, state, and federal level. This country and freedom is worth fighting for, and it is important that conservative women get in that fight. And in this time of finding a Supreme Court nominee and confirmation vote, we need to be certain that conservative women are speaking up. So this book is a great how-to guide.
The Mind of a Conservative Woman, Seeking the Best for Family and Country, by Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's with us now. Senator, I want to get to the mobs and Lindsey Graham on Monday morning. Mobs banging drums at his home at basically, I think it was like 5:30 a.m. But then they started banging on his door. Now, where are we going with this? I mean, he had the opportunity to call the Capitol Police, who dispersed the crowd, but his neighbors don't have that opportunity. When are they going to come to Marsha Blackburn's house, or to anybody's home that they don't like what they do? Where are we going with this, Senator?
Well, this is of concern to everyone. And, of course, to those of us that are on Judiciary Committee, and our staffs and our families, we are looking very closely at security. The death threats, the personal harm threats that we and our families receive, going to a restaurant and people showing up and circling the restaurant and banging on windows and disrupting everyone. Honestly, John, I don't know what they think this accomplishes and what they think it does to further their cause. What it does is to cause people to say, what do they think they are doing? And what right do they have to disrupt me? And if someone wants to have a discussion, come to the public square. Our nation and freedom's cause has been well served for the last 244 years by having robust, respectful political debate. So come to the public square and present your case. Don't get in my face and yell at me, or yell at my family, or yell at my colleagues. Come have a conversation and honor that tradition of debate in the public square. But do not go about with violence and lawlessness and these groups like Antifa. Don't act in these radicalized manners.
So what do we do about it? I mean, because people see this, and I've got to be honest with you, Senator. You look at what the mobs are doing, going to people's homes, and you're in the suburbs, and a lot of people are texting me and calling in. When are they going to come to my neighborhood or to my house, and what do I do? I mean, this is a real concern for real people when you have this sort of lawlessness, and you call the Capitol Police, but they're not going to do anything. They stand down. But an average person living in a suburb in southern Maryland, Montgomery County, Northern Virginia, Richmond, Tennessee, Nashville, wherever it may be, they don't have that option. What do you do?
Well, this is why it is so important for people to get out and vote in November. And it is why we need to elect President Trump and look at how he has responded versus how Joe Biden had responded to this, or Kamala Harris making contributions and her staff making contributions to the bail fund to get people out who were committing this violence and lawlessness. This is a difference. Let's have a discussion. If you want change, let's have a discussion about creating change. But let's not get in here and push forward with this lawlessness. Let's bring this to a stop.
Senator Marsha Blackburn.
And you know, John, I've got to say this. I think it's one of the reasons this fear of what could happen in their communities is one of the reasons that safety and security is the number one issue in this election season.
I mean, that's what's driving everything, is the fear of no law and order and chaos and mobs running around. I live in Richmond, and if you were to come downtown and see what has happened to my city, it's disgusting. I mean, things boarded up all over the place. It's shut down. The F word written on every single building, every single piece of plywood. Businesses burned down. The mayor's done nothing. Speaking of mayors doing nothing or something, let's get to your Nashville Mayor Cooper hiding pertinent information from his residents in order to maintain the justification to put businesses under, keep people out of work, and stoke fear. That only got out that information through a FOIA, and then they blamed the media for going after the information. What is going on in Nashville?
Well, I think that there are still a lot of questions around what is going on and who had the information. Did they tweak it? Did they decide to manipulate what the data meant? And my understanding is that some of the restaurants and venues are filing lawsuits. And I think as the investigation continues on this, we're going to learn more about it. The concern from people is, quite frankly, this when it comes to Nashville. They had just implemented a 34% property tax increase in metropolitan Davidson County, Nashville. Then you have that followed with this Metro Health Department that, quite frankly, was a little bit all over the board when it came to COVID and how they were releasing information and the guidance that was being given. So it seemed to be an issue with how that information was coming forth. Now, business owners said they were doing their best to comply. They were working hard to comply, and they were really frustrated that the restaurants could not open when they were open in all of the surrounding counties. And then there was this conversation about blaming the bars on Lower Broad for how the virus was spreading. And when you look at the data that came forward, it appears that more of the spread was coming from construction sites. So I know that they're investigating. I know there's going to be a lot more said about this, and I think we're all waiting to get some clarity and some transparency around what these numbers, what was actually delivered, pardon me, to the people in Nashville.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with Senator from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn. We've only got a couple of more moments with her. Always appreciate having her on. And, Senator, thank you for joining us. The odds of the Republicans keeping the Senate, you got some very tough races. Cory Gardner right now behind in Arizona. Colorado. McSally losing to Kelly in Arizona. Collins, we see one poll came out today, down by 5 in Maine. That's 3. You're certainly going to pick the Alabama seat up. Tom Tillett's in a tough race in my area here in North Carolina. Tell me the odds on GOP keeping the Senate, and what do you have to do, Senator Blackburn, to get there?
Pardon me. I think we're going to keep the Senate. Those races, I know Tillis's numbers have improved. Joni's numbers in Iowa have improved. Cory's numbers are improving every single day. So I honestly think we're in pretty good shape when it comes to keeping the Senate. We do need everybody to go vote and take a couple of their friends with them to go vote. That is for sure. And we also have a couple of pickups. You've got the race in Michigan. John James is pulling ahead in that race. You've got Minnesota. Jason Lewis is coming into striking distance in that. Minnesota is really an interesting area with the changes up there in the Iron Range and the Democrat mayors supporting President Trump. So we're doing well there, and we're doing well out in New Mexico with Ron Chetty.
All right, so it sounds like, and obviously you're going to pick the Alabama seat up. Doug
Correct.
Jones on his way out. You're way ahead there. So I think probably the toughest race you've got right now is in Arizona, but you've got some potential pickups. Certainly, Michigan can be a shocker. You got a fabulous candidate there. I've only got a couple minutes, but Marsha, I have to give a shout out to my Tennessee Titans. As much as I'm upset by some of the on-field shenanigans, I'm a Titans fan from Oiler days. Never miss a game. They're 2-0. Defense a little bit suspect Sunday, but they're winning these games on the final snap, which is very encouraging. First time they've started 2-0, Senator, in a quarter century. So I'm kind of excited about it. I think, look, they got to beat Kansas City to get to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to surprise a lot of people again.
I would love for the Titans to end up in the Super Bowl, and we would be cheering them every single step of the way and are hopeful that they have a very good season. And I think they're letting a few fans in the stadium. We hope that the mayor will relax some of those standards and more fans will be able to get into the stadium to cheer those Titans on.
Yeah, the way they're doing it, I think starting next week, they go, if I'm just doing this by memory, Senator, 8% to 11% to 12% to 15% to 21% over a number of games, and then they top out right now at 21%. The mayor says, your Mayor Cooper, until there's a vaccine or whatever changes they make. But 21% of 50,000 is 10,000. That certainly beats an empty stadium. And as upset as I am, I mean, you got to start somewhere. We have to get this back. But, hey, Senator, thanks for letting me spend 2 minutes on my Titans football team. Great to have you on.
Awesome.
Senator, it's always an honor to have you on. Buy your new book. Buy your new book, man. You got to go to Amazon or your favorite bookstore, The Mind of a Conservative Woman by Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, thank you for being with us.